Welcome to our Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas. For our touring car categories, as our classic BMW pace car pulls our field in here, Cal, and looking at some of the great races we saw yesterday in our touring car category. Today is a whole different story, though, but Vesko Kozarov starting off where he did yesterday on pole. But he's got his Nissan right next to him, Tony Rivera.
Yeah, Tony Rivera had a great start yesterday, then got turned, had a little bit of splitter damage, but expect him to challenge Vesko today. Vesko's got a target on his back. He was immensely impressive with that race one victory.
Drivers warming up those Pirelli P0 tires as they come down here through the S's, led by that classic BMW pace car. I want to give a huge thank you to them for providing our pace and safety vehicle as well as our medical vehicle, the BMW X5. Looking at some other notables throughout our field, a great run yesterday by Johan Swartz, pressuring Carl Whitmer there yesterday. Let me take a quick look at our Porsche race analysis. Cal, we talk about Circuit of the Americas here. This is a great track.
It really is. It allows great side-by-side action, particularly down through this section, through the S's. A lot of elevation change, particularly that 130-foot climb up to turn one. Wide open brake zone there. Expect a lot of action, particularly on this start and any subsequent restarts we may see throughout the course of the day. But as we saw yesterday, if you get too close at the high speeds, you can certainly turn someone around. We saw a couple of cars get spins, and then suddenly it was action behind them.
Well, looking at some of the Pirelli storylines here, and Cal, I got to think a lot of that has to do with the standing start that these cars are going to do now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a totally different element for these cars to go through. Majority of this field is rear-wheel drive, so they should get a pretty good launch here. Conditions are a lot better than they were earlier in the day, where we had like a heavy mist. It felt like a rain, but just a heavy mist really soaked everything early this morning. And the other touring car race, the TCR and TCA race, decided to skip the standing start and go with a regular rolling start. But I think we're set for a standing start here for the final race of the day.
Well, cars are getting those tires warmed up once again. They'll get in line, and we'll come back for Pirelli World Challenge TC action right after this. Well, welcome back here to our coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas for touring car. On pole, Vesko Kozarov getting one final heat cycle in those Pirelli P0 tires. Tony Rivera and his Nissan 370Z. Paul Terry, good story there in that Paul Terry Trucking Nissan 370Z from Reardon Racing, finishing second yesterday. And you see all these cars lining up for that standing start, Cal. Only one car in our field with a front-wheel drive.
Yeah, so everyone should get a pretty good launch, and you need it for that massive acceleration run. Look at that hill in front of them. It's like a ski slope going in the wrong direction. But either way, it should allow for some side-by-side action up into that brake zone. But as we've seen before, Jeff, there's that funnel effect down to apex. Everyone's got to just be super smart, give each other a little bit of racing room, and give each other a little bit of respect, as Brian Till, the driver steward, likes to say.
Joshua Foran in that number 93 Honda Civic Type R. You see there on the back of the field. Brand new build for that car, had problems. That's the front wheel drive Honda Civic Type R. Going to be doing a flag start here. Light system is inoperable here, so we'll see a green flag wave, and that'll get us underway. And they're letting all the drivers know timing on when that flag might be coming out, and it'll be between 2 and 5 seconds when they do give the all clear to all the teams here.
Good start
Paul
there for
Terry
Kozarov.
does
Terry
stall.
stalls momentarily. Can everyone miss him? I think they do. Great start for Kozarov. He immediately sweeps out wide to try and take that big arc over to the apex. Good start for Tony Rivera. Johann Schwartz putting the pressure on as they exit turn one.
Well, Tony Rivera gets a good start here, as he did yesterday. Went from 7th all the way up to 2nd place, and unfortunately, with the incident here, right about here, he got hit back as Jacob Ruud in that number 80. He slots back in there, the benefactor yesterday of that spin. But here is Vesko Kozarov continuing where he left off yesterday, leading early in TC.
And I think looking at the lap times that Rivera was able to lay down with a damaged race car, he could be a fact here, but certainly Vesko Kozarov has a lot of confidence in himself and in his race cars. Things tighten up here through the S's. Johann Schwartz there very much on the attack. He felt yesterday if we hadn't had the caution and we'd gone green flag racing, he had a really strong BMW underneath him, really trying to protect his rear tires over the long green flag run.
Just getting word we're going full course yellow here. Paul Terry Trucking Nissan 370Z, unfortunately not able to continue. And with these standing starts, that rear-wheel drive cars and these sticky Pirelli P0 tires, a lot of stuff could break there on the start. You got half shafts, the drive shaft, rear diff, a lot of things going on, and quite possibly has had a failure there on that rear-end motorsports car.
Yeah, super disappointment for that team. Had a 1-2 finish here yesterday, so certainly we're looking to repeat here again today. But they've still got their ace out there. Vesko Kozarov continues to lead, but I think Tony Rivera really has his sights on not just a podium run here today. He'd love to get his first victory of the season.
So that Nissan Titan safety vehicle here at Circuit of the Americas gets that Nissan peeled off the track. Well, as always with the Pirelli World Challenge competition here, 2 races on the weekend. Take a quick look back at what happened yesterday in our touring car classes here. Right at the start, Tony Rivera, we talked about that start he got earlier down there to the inside, tried to make a move on Vesko Kozarov. He led for about that much, but here was that contact with Jacob Ruud. Gets in the back, both cars spin, they get underway. A drive-through penalty for Jacob Ruud in his BMW. Major contact here with Jorgensen getting to the side of Henry Schmidt, and the other car on the side there unable to continue. Johann Schwartz, guy hounded Carl Whitmer all race long, unable to get that pass done. But it was Vesko Kozarov getting the win over his teammate Paul Terry. The 2 Nissans 1-2 from Reardon Racing in race number 1. And a big old Clagelin line of cars 3 wide as they come across the stripe, Cal.
Yeah, it's a sensational race and a lot of great storylines as we now line up for the second race of the weekend. But for Vesko, he expected this, he performed, he got the win, and I know he wants to sweep the weekend as this Touring Car Championship gets underway.
Well, he's doing a good job of that right now, able to lead over Tony Rivera. But we're going to go back under yellow flag here. Once we get that car cleared, we might be able to go green right now. Now still have the yellow flag light there. Thought they might have been close enough there, Cal, with the car being cleared off, but it looks like they're going to go back under one more lap of yellow. So we'll be right back as we get ready to go back green with touring car action here today. Well, we completed our first segment. We didn't get a chance with the GT race ending for those of you that were watching at world-challenge.com. Going straight into our touring car race. Nice compact schedule here at Circuit of the Americas today. So once again, we just want to welcome everybody to world-challenge.com. Don't forget to go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and download the brand new Pirelli World Challenge app. Live timing, streaming, facts about all the drivers and the cars for the Pirelli World Challenge here. So good stuff to Cal. And Cal, this touring car category, really with the BMW M2 35i, the Nissan 370Z, the Genesis Coupe, and now that Honda Civic Type R, it's kind of taken a back seat to the TCR category, but no less exciting here in TC.
No, and there's some fierce competitors, some real stalwarts of Pirelli World Challenge competition competing throughout this championship year, and I think everyone's got their eye on the TCR class, that platform, which looks super exciting. We had some great races here this weekend to see if they will make the jump, and just a question of wait and see, but I think we've certainly got an exciting championship here with this class. And certainly Vesko has got his eyes on the big prize. He wants to sweep this weekend, get off to a really strong start, and go after the big trophy.
Well, touring car competitor Mikey Taylor behind the wheel of our classic BMW M3 GTS pace in the field here. I know he wants to be behind the wheel of one of these race cars rather than the pace car, but we'll see if he can do that later on this season. Johann Schwartz, the world's record holder for the world's longest drift, 232.5 miles in a BMW M5. And if you search YouTube, I think it's about 30 million views of the video where they built this refueling mechanism to snap on and actually have to refuel the car mid-drift.
It was amazing. It is great footage. You got to check it out on YouTube. And Johan has got such passion for motorsports, loves the game. I met him several years ago. He ran a kart track down in Orlando area, and equal passion for his business back then, and continues to bring his A game every single day. Runs there in that third position, just off the podium yesterday. In fourth position, royally hounded Carl Whitmer all the way to the line, and felt he had a slightly stronger car, but we'll see what we can do here today.
And of course, West Virginia University sponsorship on the side of that Rooster Hall racing machine now through that M235i Racing. Couple interns from the Formula SAE program, engineering students developing their own race cars to come out and run and get a chance to come out here and see the full package. Well, getting ready to go back green here is Vesko Kozarov, just getting the Pirelli P0 tires cleaned off. Tony Rivera behind him, and Johan Swartz coming down through turn number 19 as they enter that acceleration zone. And he did the dummy right there, kind of swerving back and forth and trying to get to the green. It's his decision on when he wants to go once he enters that acceleration zone, and he pulls about 3 car lengths lead already. Yeah,
I'm not sure why Tony didn't try and close that gap there, because Vesko went and then slowed down a little bit, and Tony let the gap maintain, so it gives Vesko a nice clean run up in the turn 1 braking zone.
Single file up here into turn number 1. It will be Kozarov through there in the lead. Tony Rivera second, Johan Swartz in third, Carl Whitmer in fourth. And I got to think that was Robert Ninkoff in fifth in the number 20 BMW. Good run for him in his Auto Technique BMW.
Yeah, behind these two Nissans, there's just a gaggle of BMWs. Strength in numbers, certainly, but they've got a lot of pace to chase in those Nissans.
Got to go all the way back to 9th to Jeff Rika in his Genesis Coupe, the Gen Racer car. You see him right there. Steve Streamer behind him in his Tech Sport Racing Nissan 370Z. A lot of great teams, a lot of great drivers, and a lot of great cars here in Touring Car. Battling for 6th there, Matt Travis in that classic BMW number 26. Right behind our lead group as Johan Swartz down to the inside. You see them going way to the inside on that turn number 5 turn in.
Yeah, they're certainly trying to use all of the road that they can and get away with the driver steward here this weekend. Track limits always a factor when we come to Circuit of the Americas, and they said turn 8 is really close there down into the apex area for turn 11, that critical corner onto this back straightaway.
Matt Travis defending against Jacob Ruud in the 2 BMWs. Matt Travis trying to stay in front of that winding road racing machine. Matt Travis doing a pretty good job here in Touring Car.
He really is doing a nice job. Returns this year in the same car, had some podiums last year. He's based in Houston, recovered from the floods here momentarily. Here we see Ruud down to the inside. This is going to be really tight. Oh boy, that had signs on it before it even happened.
Yeah, and that's going to have to come into a full course yellow with the damage to that car. And right down to the inside, you can see there's fluid down on the track. That right wheel locked up in just an exuberant move, and I think just no room to go and way too fast into that corner.
Yeah, I think Jacob's just got to feel out those passing moves a little bit more carefully, because you're suddenly going to have that funneling effect. People aren't going to expect you barreling down the inside there. You just got to get alongside the competitor you're racing with, and then we see a look at it here. You just know that Whitmer's going to be turning in there, and there's just immediate contact and damage to his race car.
And poor Carl Whitmer, no place, not even fault of his own. He was mid-apex starting to accelerate through the exit, and then all of a sudden gets hit. Not sure if he has continued yet, but full course yellow as Jacob Ruud able to get his car off the track, but now still in that dangerous point. We'll have to get that car recovered.
Yeah, hopefully Whitmer got hit in the doors and not in the suspension. If he got into either one of his left side wheels, will be a problem, but maybe he escaped there.
He did. He got dropped back to 6th place, so he's going to have a good chance to really pay attention to his car on this pace lap. As you see, he pulls right over against the pit wall, gives the crew a chance to look at that car. Looks like it's tracking pretty straight down the straightaway.
Yeah, and that's the real key. You can see the side view mirror dangling off. That's not a big issue, and other than trying to defend up into turn 1, of course, if he comes under attack. But we'll try and get a glance at this left side. And it looks like he got center punched in the door.
He's going to be, moved over a little bit in the driver position there, but
his
also,
left elbow took a bump there.
Yeah, it did. We got to make
roll
sure
cage.
That looks like Jacob Rude. It looks like is Daniel Moran. See if we can take a look here and see exactly, Cal. Do you think it was just a little too quick into that braking zone?
Well, he was trying to make the move on Travis, but the rest of the competition is unaware, really, that he's making that bold move down the inside. So just overcommitted. ABS is kicking in, and then that just stops the wheels from locking. It doesn't stop the car really any quicker, and then you're just on a straight line trajectory right into the guys who are turning through the apex.
Trying to see if he can pull away. Well, joining us with our TC coverage here this year down on pit lane, Gino Carini.
Hey guys, I'm down here in the 91 pit with Yuki Tatsumi, the crew chief for the 91 car for Nick Whitmer. Nick, Yuki, what did you see? What happened out there?
Man, that door is smashed. He said the car hit him on his elbow. His elbow is hurting him pretty bad. He said the car's getting loose in the carousel back there. The tires look okay, so we're going to keep them out for now, and hopefully we can finish the race.
Okay. So you mentioned that he maybe has a hurt elbow. He's in the car. You think he can go on, or is he going to try to fight through this?
I think he's going to fight through this. I think he's got this.
Okay. Hey, guys, I mean, they're down here at the 91 pit, and they're going to do their best, and Nick's in there with a hurt elbow, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can keep going.
Well, Carl Whitmer with that hurt elbow on his left side, and, you're a race car driver. I think unless you lose that arm, you're going to stay out and run.
That's pretty much it. You end up looking like Monty Python by the end of the race. But, yeah, he's going to fight on. Just an unfortunate incident. I mean, the real key is how's the car handling. That'll be the real key right now for Whitmer. Just trying to analyze, even under caution, whether it's tracking straight, as you said. I think it just center punched right between the wheels, so he may have got a lucky break. And hopefully his arm is okay. You got that roll cage there in the side view, but that would have come as quite the shock when he was just turning through the apex area there.
Yeah, especially not knowing what was coming when he was on the exit of that corner. Well, we'll get our cars behind our safety car, get caught back up here. Stick around with us for a Pirelli World Challenge competition here. Touring cars from Circuit of the Americas. Well, if you're a big fan of the Pirelli World Challenge competition like we are, make sure you follow along at world-challenge.com. Links to YouTube videos and replays of all of our racing and all things World Challenge. Search Facebook for the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. Join all the fans through Facebook and follow along at Twitter at World Challenge Racing, WC Racing on Twitter. Well, if you're a huge fan of Pirelli World Challenge like we are, make sure you follow along at world-challenge.com for all things PWC. Links to videos, links to driver profiles, and check out all the action at world-challenge.com. If you want to follow along with all the fans worldwide, just search Facebook for our Facebook page at Pirelli World Challenge Championships and follow along on Twitter at WC Racing. We'll stick here with our web stream here at world-challenge.com. We're trying to monitor here Carl Whitmer taking that huge shot to the left side door. We got a chance to talk to his teammate down there on pit lane, or his crew chief down there on pit lane. Said that his elbow is hurting him. He said the car was getting a little loose there in the carousel. That's that big right-hander, turn 15, 16, 17, 18 cal, and that's a high-speed right-hander too. You don't want the car being loose there.
No, for certain, and we're not sure if one of the wheels did take a little bit of a hit, which may change the alignment, of course, and setup is so critical on these cars in terms of getting exactly dialed in, but hopefully he can hang on and not lose too much pace. Jacob Rude has not been a perfect weekend by a long shot. Had that incident early in the race yesterday with Tony Rivera, and both those drivers very lucky not to sustain major damage with that high-speed spin through the S's after contact between Rude and Rivera on the opening lap.
Well, we see our classic BMW. That's the brand new M4 GTS chassis leading our field. Want to give a huge thank you once again to Classic BMW providing that beautiful M4 GTS car. I mean, Mikey Taylor's behind the wheel, a touring car competitor. I would love nothing more to get behind the wheel of that M4 GTS, but also providing our beautiful BMW X5 medical vehicle. It gives our safety crews a chance to ride behind the field, especially on that first lap. Dr. Somerville riding in that vehicle, the medical history of all of our drivers, able to maintain if there's any incidents coming on.
Certainly great to have Preston Calvert involved with the concussion protocol that we're doing this year. All of the drivers have to go through this check on the computers, and then if you do have an incident, they then recheck what your reflexes and are like. Make the determination if you're good to go in the next event.
A little bit of a delayed cleanup here. That is that fluid that we saw from Jacob Rude's BMW. Our classic BMW M4 GTS pace car lights are out as we're getting ready to go back under green with Vesco Kozarov leading over Tony Rivera and Johan Schwartz. Down here in turn number 12, a little bit of fluid still remaining, but it was just water. They got most of that clean. They have it cleaned up. They're going to put a surface flag down for one lap count.
Yeah, which will certainly be challenging for anyone trying to make a move down to the inside of turn 12 on this restart lap. Here's another look at it. Rude just really overcommitted to the inside. He can see that Whitmer's going to come across on him. He has nowhere to go. Whitmer really dodged a big bullet there, just has major door damage, took a knock to his elbow, but he's able to continue at this point anyway.
You can see the damage to that BMW there on the side. Team reporting that he is complaining of his left elbow being hurt, and you got to think what that big of a hit it was.
Let's see what Rivera learned from that previous restart. He basically let Vesco take off by himself. I'm sure he's going to want to try to keep it a little bit tighter this go around.
He doesn't want to lose it. It's Vesco Kozarov. Once the pace car enters pit lane, you enter the acceleration zone, and it's his chance of whenever he decides to go. You can weave back and forth, maybe make a dummy move and try to go and catch the second place car off guard as he does it just there again.
Yeah, you just got to get out of that weaving mode and just really focus on when he accelerates.
Well, Tony Rivera in second place as they come across turn number 20. Back underway as we get ready to go green here at Circuit of the Americas, led by Vesco Kozarov, Tony Rivera, and a big long line of BMWs with Johan Schwartz protecting to the inside of Matt Travis. Can he make a move up here in turn number 1?
Look at Whitmer. He's looking racy there in the 6th position with that damaged race car. Rivera slides through turn 1, really tight there with Whitmer. He makes the move to the outside as they plunge down the hill. Travis trying to make a move on Johan Schwartz as well.
Well, Nemkov protecting to the inside against Whitmer. He's going to push to the outside here as he gets that 5th place. But Tony Rivera in second. Johan Schwartz, we haven't really seen him pressured all race long. He's been the guy providing the pressure. Now Matt Travis on his back bumper.
Tell you what, Vesco timed that perfectly. I think he was looking in his rearview mirror as the cars were weaving around behind him, and just as soon as he saw Tony make that weave to the other direction, he just took off and got the gap he wanted for the acceleration run up the hill.
Matt Travis in that classic BMW M235i, 4 cars strong in this touring car category from classic BMW. Reardon Racing, 2 cars finished 1-2 yesterday. And Paul Terry, unfortunately, on that standing start had a problem and just got a word from race control that car number 3 is getting a warning about manipulating that start.
Really? Well, you're supposed to wait to the certain zone, and he certainly took off early. And if we get another one, he's going to have to watch that. Otherwise, he could be in a penalty situation. Hopefully, we won't see that again with 21 minutes on the board. Love to see some good green flag action here, but Tony Rivera is responding. He's coming hard after. Has got some really good sector times here on this lap.
We're looking at that Reardon Racing machine. How about SPL Parts on the side of this car, based right here in Austin, Texas, a local business, provides a lot of suspension components to Tony and all the Nissans and the team, built them for a lot of makes and models, and they come on board for local and then supporting him all season long now.
See that front splitter on that Nissan fixed up from yesterday. I think after that high-speed spin through the S's, must have got a little bit of damage. Tony really fought on throughout that. Despite a car that was kind of evil handling, he's going to lose the downforce on that race car. Got that fixed up, and I think if he gets in a groove, into a rhythm, I think he may have some pace here this afternoon, but Vesco has got the gap that he wants. He can be comfortable, hit his marks, does not have to defend, compromise his line, and compromise his lap time, most importantly.
When you mentioned that the crew got that fixed, he is the crew. It's him and his wife only on that 370Z, the number 97 car, so they got that car all fixed up. Carl Whitmer back in 6th place, still doing okay, kind of looking to the inside of Nemcoff there. We know his elbow is sore, but doing a good job staying with this lead pack.
Yeah, I'll keep fighting hard, that's for sure. Points so important in the early stages of this championship. There having a nice strong run in the Genesis Coupe. Since that car was really alive the other morning, we had a relatively cool practice session. That turbo just came alive. Builds all his own cages for his own race car and for some other teams as well. Fierce competitor, and it's just great to go down in their pit area and just see how some of these teams operate. Don't have a lot of budget, but the intensity and the passion for racing is absolutely there to be seen.
See Matt Travis still on the back bumper of Johan Swartz, but not really there to try to make a move. Whitmer dropping back a little bit behind Robert Nemcoff, that Auto Technique BMW. Mentioned Rika, Steve Streamer in that Tech Sport Racing Nissan 370Z behind him. As the field's starting to string out now. 1.8 seconds was that gap from Kozarov to Rivera. I got to think that that gap is a little bit longer now as they waited for them to catch back across the line.
Yeah, he's really stretching that lead. He's increased it by about a second, took about 4 tenths. Added 4 tenths to the gap in Sector 1 and in Sector 2. Fastest car out there is Streamer at 137 miles an hour, has the fastest trap speed on that particular lap anyway.
Kozarov had the best first sector that last time, like you mentioned there, Cal, and I think he's going to, before that, set the fastest race lap at a 2:27.2. Personal best on top speed, so we'll see if he can reset that fast lap. Really no points for that or nothing like that this time, but we'll see if it's always for the glory, too, though. You want to win it all, right?
Looks good in the stats at the end of the year when you can have some fast laps to that. Obviously, from the first races of the weekend, it gives you a point. It gives you the pole for race 2, so it's more important in the first race of the weekend, but even so, you want a clean sweep of the weekend, grab all of the accolades.
Well, your top 3 as they run, it is Vesco Kozarov in his Nissan 370Z from Verdant Racing, Tony Rivera, the Brass Monkey Racing SPL Parts Nissan 370Z, and Johan Swartz from Brewster Hall, West Virginia University. Stick around, more TC action coming up next. Just completed another one of our segments for our CBS Sports Network. You can see this race April 12th on CBS Sports Network at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you check your local listings and set your DVRs, your watch parties, barbecues, swimming. I don't care what you do. Just watch Pirelli World Challenge competition. You can always, like we said before, check it out at world-challenge.com, as we'll put the live stream re-airs that you're seeing here today up right after they air on CBS Sport Network. So if you want your fill of Pirelli World Challenge competition, you can see it here as Whitmer looking down to the inside of Nemcoff.
Nemcoff eventually turns in. You kind of get in no man's land in there if you're not quite close enough, and then you're just waiting for that car to turn in without contact. Nicely judged there by Whitmer.
Looks like the Genesis Coupe of Jeff Rika dragging something there on the right front, possibly a brake duct or a inside body panel dragging. Don't think it's affecting him much as Whitmer getting the draft over Nemcoff down here to turn number 12. They're side by side down in the braking zone.
Nicely done. Just held him out there. It's all about just getting alongside and then just getting the car in a position where the guy on the outside can't turn in. Not like you need to carry that speed through the corner, so nicely judged there. Tony Rivera fighting back, just had the fastest, went purple in Sector 2, so the fastest sector, Sector 2, took 6 tenths out of the lead on Kozarov, so maybe his car is coming to him a little bit.
Yeah, that car is definitely not handling right in the left-handers with Whitmer there. You can see he's getting that car a little sideways. It's a little unstable in those 2 sections there when he was right in front of Nemcoff, so we'll have to see if he can hold on to that. About 15 more minutes to go.
Side view mirror.
he finally lost it. That's good. More of a distraction than anything else.
He didn't run over it with the tire, went underneath the car, but I think he missed it with the wheel.
Well, welcome back here to the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas here at Circuit of the Americas. Vesco Kozarov in the rear-end racing Nissan 370Z doing what he did yesterday, pulling away a little bit. 1.7 seconds is the gap over Tony Rivera. And looking at some of the times there, Tony Rivera just set his fastest race lap, Cal.
Yeah, he did. That gap was 2.5 seconds the lap before, so Rivera is suddenly finding the sweet spot. May have just been the starting pressures that he put on his Pirelli P0, started them a little bit lower. Now they're gradually building, getting into the sweet spot. Vesco certainly took off. Yesterday he did the same thing today on the initial start, on the restart, maybe just starting with a slightly higher tire pressure so the tire comes to life a little bit quicker, but on a long green flag run, maybe Tony Rivera has something for him. He's certainly coming back at him really quickly, but Vesco responds with the fastest first sector of the day, but merely a few hundredths quicker than Tony Rivera.
Well, I got to think maybe Rivera saw a little bit of that yesterday, too, with Paul Terry, his teammate at the rear-end racing team that did finish second to Vesco. He started really closing in on Vesco in those closing stages, so maybe Rivera sets that Nissan 370Z up for a later run.
Just under 14 minutes to go. We observe the sector times once again. As we said, Kozarov just went fastest, purple as we call it when we look at our timing and screens in sector 1 at a 31.9 to a 32.0 for Tony Rivera. But in sector 2, Rivera comes back with a couple of tenths, clipping off that lead. So it's nip and tuck there at the front between the two Nissan 370Zs.
Well, Matt Travis in that Fast Track Racing Classic BMW got a chance to go to Plano, Texas and check out this dealership that was Classic BMW. I think a little over 80 service bays they have there, a dedicated portion of the shop just for the race team now, really building up that dealership in Plano, Texas. Really cool shot. Really appreciate Toby Grahovic giving me a tour there.
Super impressive. I think they have 8 cars they can paint him with here this weekend, so they're certainly busy on many fronts.
Seeing Tony Rivera just lifting that inside tire, coming down through that. And that's a big downhill coming down.
His car is hooked up right now. The balance is there. The car is coming to Tony Rivera. It was 1.7 seconds last time across the stripe. We'll wait and see what Kozarov has got in hand as he's been able to respond.
Sean Quinlan, this little tight battle here between Mark Brumman and Quinlan doing a good job staying in front of him, but looking down to the inside, Quinlan protects, and Sean with that Stephen Cameron Racing Team car. Whoa, a big tank slapper there on the side. Wow, that Auto Technique car. Brumman really doing his battling here, trying to see if he can get around Quinlan.
Yeah, Gregory Lafuge coaches Quinlan. He's a NASA guy. Has run a spec E330 BMW over the years, but doesn't have a lot of time in these.
Well, we talk about all these teams and these drivers, driver coaches, what they have to go through. Tony Rivera, we talked about it before. I think we need to speak with the truck driver, the crew chief, the tire cleaner, the engine mechanic, the engineer. Gino Carini, you're down there with that person.
Well, Jeff, you took my lead in. Katie Rivera is absolutely everything on this team. She is the truck driver. She is the crew chief. We're sitting down here looking at her jack, her spare tire. Katie, Tony's having a great race. What do you think?
He's having a really strong race. We're hoping that he can keep it up. He's chasing down Vesco, so it's a good day.
Yeah. So what's the plan going forward? I mean, are you guys going to do more races this season, but are we just thinking about today?
Oh, no, we're here for the season, but we are really focused on today.
Good.
We want to make sure we stay on the podium and race a clean, fast race.
Thank you, Katie. Thanks for your time. She has no time to talk to anybody. Trust me. I've been trying to talk to her for a long time, and she's busy as can be, and Tony's doing well. So back to you guys. Thank you.
Well, note taker, we even have that there, crew chief. Man, it's all done there with that nice family team.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to hear these stories throughout the touring car paddock. I mean, there are not big budgets involved, but in terms of what it means to these people and the sacrifices they're making to be at the racetrack is immense, and it's a great story. Hats off to the whole Rivera family.
And Tony had a big incident last year with this car. And got to give a huge thank you to Rick Kulak from Nissan, supporting all the Nissan competitors here this weekend. Really like next day airing parts to get to him to get that car fixed for the Utah Motorsports campus race. Just in time was Tony Rivera. And you see him sliding out a little bit there as he comes down into turn number 17. But you can still see some damage to the back of that car. That rear hatch a little bit different color than the rest of the car. but got that car fixed up and ready in time for the 2018 season. It was 2.2 seconds last time by, 3 seconds this time. Vesco reset the fastest lap previous time by, and starting to pull back away now.
Yeah, I think he was just teasing him. Gave him a little hope, and then just got the hammer down once again as he really uses up the tires there coming over the hill in turn 1.
Well, Nissan doing a lot of support here for all 4 of the Nissans here with their Nismo brand. Got Scott Carter at the facility there in Nashville, a good parts program. BMW, very similar. Their motorsports program. All these manufacturers stepping up now, Cal, to support even we call GC's not a grassroots, we're still professional, but this is the introductory class into Pirelli World Challenge.
Yeah, and that manufacturer support is so important to these guys in terms of a little bit of a bonus structure. And with parts and a little bit of money goes a long, long way. So hats off to all the manufacturers that are helping these guys campaign throughout the course of the year. Seeing Schwartz here, not letting Rivera get away. You can certainly see the leader up in front, but Johann Schwartz is just hanging on.
Yeah, everything he can do to get it done here is seeing the number 26, Matt Travis, in his BMW, still trying to see if he can get that final podium spot with the Johann Schwartz there. And you see the number 23, that Tech Sport Racing Nissan 370Z, a brand new build for that car, was a previous Hot Lap program car for Nissan, able to make that room. And there's that number 02 BMW, your Optima Battery Best Standing Start of the Race Award, Mark Brumman earning that award. We'll finish that segment on the TV there, Cal. Back onto our web stream here, and Mark Brumman picked up 1 position on the start. Still, it's a reward there, and Sean Quinlan doing everything he can to hold back Mark Brumman, but these guys have been back and forth most of the race.
Yeah, they have, and talking to Steve Cameron about how to handle one of these BMWs, he said, you know, it's all about the front end. I mean, you just can't overpower the front end, otherwise the ABS is going to kick in and just lose it in terms of the car going straight. So it's really tricky to manage that and just be patient and disciplined with the approach into these corners.
Steve Cameron racing 2 cars strong here this weekend. Actually 3 cars strong, I apologize. Running in the BMW M4 GT4 with Greg Relay Fusion, Henry Schmidt also. Henry Schmidt still running around here in the Pirelli World Challenge TC category in 12th. Darren Jorgensen, Schmidt, and Vesco Kozarov doing double duty here this weekend, also racing in the GTS class.
Brumman just laid down his fastest lap of the race so far at a 229.9.
I remember when Toby Grohovic was chatting about bringing over these BMW M2 35i racing into America to help build this TC class. Took the gamble. Our own Gino Carini down there on pit lane was secondary. And I just heard the spin. Yeah. You see that lock up, and a good save by Mark Brumman there, but obviously just outside of our camera shot. We heard it on our headsets, though. It looks like he was pushing just a little too hard, but they were the 2 of the innovators here in this touring car category, bringing over these cars. Last year at Utah Motorsports Campus, we had Virginia International, 26 BMWs, set a record globally for these cars to race at.
Yeah, I know Victor Lalou, the BMW Motorsports manager, is really happy with the success and certainly the appeal that this car has had in different forms of competition here in the United States.
Well, there is your leader, Vesco Kozarov, as the action returns here to Pirelli World Challenge TC competition. But that battle for second, Cal, heating up. Tony Rivera is getting pressured by Johann Schwartz now.
Yeah, and I think right there, just through the apex of 15, Johann ran a little bit wide as he tried to increase that pressure. Just lost the front end of that BMW. And talking to Steve Cameron, who doesn't campaign this one, but a similar machine, he said, you just got to be super patient with that front end. If you overload it, the ABS will kick in, and it just goes straight. And I think that's what we observed there with Johann going through turn 15 a few moments ago.
The biggest battle for the Nissan 370Zs last season has been heat on these cars. You see some brand new vents on the hood that the Pirelli World Challenge Tech Department has allowed this season. It drops those engine temperatures, so the computer not adjusting the timing and pulling it out to save the motor. These guys able to push longer later on in the race.
Yeah, that engine preservation mode is good for the motor in terms of it blowing up, but it's not good for performance. You suddenly just go really flat and the competition is going to steam by you, but you can see it very visibly there on Tony Rivera's hood with the red hood and those black louvers.
Some 50-degree cooler temperatures inside that engine bay by having those louvers, but you look at Vesko Kozarov in that Reardon Racing Nissan 370Z. Vesko leading over this battle for second. Tony Rivera, Johann Schwartz. Johann's getting him back in now. You mentioned he made that little correction, Cal.
Yeah, he's really quick through the S's there. That car's got beautiful rhythm. Johanna's hitting his mark, so he's just got to be careful on the entry of these corners that he doesn't overload that front end. But he's starting to put the pressure on Tony Rivera. Can he think about a move into the brake zone here? Tony protects a little bit, takes the middle of the road. Johanna will try and set this up ahead and do the undercut as they come off.
Saw him turn that wheel to the right, though, a little bit sideways as he got back to the power.
Now it's a drag race down that long stretch between turn 11 and 12. Time is ticking, under 4 minutes to go now. Johann will be really pleased to maybe step on the podium, but he wants bigger things. He wants that runner-up position as Kozarov continues to lead.
Tony Rivera protects down to the inside, and turn number 12 gets a good run back out of that corner, not giving any openings for Johann to come through this tight right-hander and sort of enter this cool stadium section you talk about on this track.
You may want to join the party, but Tony Rivera is not going to give you the invite, so you're going to have to work hard to get in the door here.
Great portion of the track here sweeps around the 360 amphitheater and the big tower here at Circuit of the Americas. Turn 15, 16, 17, then 18. Right-hander, you're on it for a long time.
You really are, and Johann is able to eat up that curb on the inside. His car's working really well. Even though he's a drift king, he really manages his tires extremely well. Trying not to get those rear driving wheels too overheated. Oh, he's really tight there. He's got a good run. Gets a really good run down this front straightaway. Time is running out. Is Johann Schwartz going to make a move into the brake zone? Up into turn 1. What will Rivera do here? Will he take the middle of the road? Schwartz has a run. He looks to the inside, thinks better of it.
He's going to try to go swing to the outside, look for the over-under as Tony Rivera started to protect that inside. Floats it way wide outside the track there over those gator strips. Not able to do it. Now can he stick down through here on the S's? This is where the Z should be a little bit better, but that nimble BMW right on the back bumper of that 370.
Yeah, Johann is having fun. He's in the rhythm. His car is working perfectly, and he's just working Tony Rivera over. Look through here how quick he is. Seems like he can really ride. That suspension is really compliant with the curbs here. He can cut through some of these corners a little bit more effectively than the Nissan, it seems.
Good braking zone opportunity down into turn number 11 for Johann if he can get close enough to Rivera. Rivera steps out a little bit there on the exit of turn number 9, down the hill through 10. Can Johann make a move now as he looks down to the inside?
Thinks better of it, tucks back in. Rivera really slow there at apex. Can Johann Schwartz get on the power and get a good run down this straightaway? Time is running out, a minute and a half to go.
Well, not a lot of time to do that. Let's get down to pit lane for an update from Gino Carini.
Hey guys, I'm actually down here with Johann's crew chief, Eric Meyer. I mean, this is getting really exciting, Eric. Is Johann talking to you guys? What's he saying?
No, Johann's staying quiet and staying focused here, trying to make the move on Tony here in the closing laps. White flag's coming out this time by, so we're going to see if we can't make a move here shortly.
Do you think he's got anything for the Nissan?
I think he might be able to pull something out here later in the run on the last lap, try to make a move. We've been trying to set him up, trying to keep his mirrors full and everything, so we're just hoping the tires hold on for one more lap here as we go to the checkered.
Awesome. Eric, best of luck to you guys. Thanks. Back to you guys.
Well, Johann Schwartz is going to have to try to line him up the best that he can to make that move. About a car length gap now. It was 0.3 seconds at the line, but you can see on your screen there's no gap at all between those two drivers now.
Yeah, and it's going to be close on the timeline, but they will indeed. Looks like they're going to get one more lap to go. So Johann Schwartz, he hasn't really indicated where he's going to make that big power move. Now Tony Rivera gets a really good run through 19. Does he have a little bit left in hand to maybe make a gap here on this final lap of the race?
So Vesko Kozarov in his rear-end racing machine gets that white flag as he heads up to turn number 1, but we're watching this battle for second. It still is a podium spot for Johann, but he likes to move over to the right side of that podium instead of the left side, trying to make the move here, going to swing wide, look for that over-under, but Tony just does such a good job of putting that Z where it needs to be, Cal.
Yeah, he can hold the middle of the road, and he's not braking too late, so he's doing a really nice job of controlling his line and his pace. He's keeping Johann at bay, but will Schwartz have something up his sleeve and surprise him, like his crew chief says, over this final lap?
Well, Tony Rivera, that was the biggest gap he's had entering the S's, and Johann starting to close the gap down here on the end of the S's. We'll have to see if he's got anything, 1 or 2 braking zones maybe to try to get it done down there in turn 11 and 12.
Yeah, you gotta, I'm not sure if he's going to be close enough here, if he can make a move. Oh, he gets a good run through there. He's really close. He could be in the prime spot. Rivera will have to defend here as Johann makes the move to the inside. Rivera can't close the door now. Johann has already made his mark. Just got to set him up. Maybe he can make a move through the stadium section when you get down in that turn 15 area and surprise him, but keeping it clean so far.
Matt Travis, that number 26 Classic BMW, really had nothing for the second and third place cars, but these guys get side by side here with the last few corners. He might be able to make a move as Johann goes down to the inside.
Yeah, he's not really close enough. I think he's just trying to disrupt and get Tony to make a little mistake here, make him lose his focus, but right now he's keeping it really controlled. Superb drive here by Tony Rivera, keeping Johann Schwartz behind him. Final few corners. I think if Schwartz is going to do it, he's going to have to try and do it into 15. Can he get close enough to make the move and surprise Tony Rivera?
Oh,
can he cut back in there?
Bumper.
Yes, he does. He plows down to the inside. Can he keep the front end on that BMW? Rivera comes back at him. He'd been thinking about that, Jeff, I feel. Now he's got that inside line. That BMW can really tuck in, but Rivera takes the line away from him.
Wow, what a superb pass. Just put his foot down, stayed on the outside in that combo. Here, Johann going to look to see if he can swing back around through turn number 19. Don't think he can make that happen. One last chance down to turn number 20. They're side by side.
Rivera takes it away from him. Good clean racing between these two guys.
Well, Vesko Kozarov going to get the win, but Tony Rivera able to hold off Johann Schwartz for second, and Johann into third. What a great race. It was all controlled by Vesko Kozarov in that rear-end racing 370Z, but what an epic battle. You see Rivera hands out the window. Those two drivers, a lot of respect and a lot of experience between them two, and that's how racing should be. Touring car, again and again, some of the best racing we see all weekend long.
Superb. Vesko was dominant this weekend, but behind him for those podium spots. I had a feeling that Johann was just going to wait and just try and surprise him, but he had to overcommit down there, couldn't quite get the front end tucked. Tony Rivera used his experience and racing savvy there to respond and hang on to that runner-up position. Great stuff.
Probably the only time he held it flat out through that outside corner too, and you're either going to get it or you're going to lose it right there, but good job for him to get that second place and hold off Johann Schwartz. As Johann, we saw that yesterday, trying to battle there, just didn't quite have enough to get it done.
Still a big weekend for him. 4th place and a 3rd place finish for Johann Schwartz. Good points, but this man dominated.
He sure did. Vesko Kozarov did double duty here all weekend long with that rear-end racing team. And Vesko getting that win, making it 2 in a row, sweeping the weekend. Tony Rivera in second. Johann Schwartz will go third. Matt Travis in fourth. Carl Whitmer, possibly left elbow injury there in the 5th. Robert Nemcoff in 6th. Jeff Rika in his Genesis in 7th. Steve Strymer, good debut here in that TC class, now in 8th. Jason Clooney in 9th. And Sean Quinlan able to hold off the hard charger into 10th. Let's take a quick look at our Manufacturers Championship. Of course, Nissan leading over BMW, but I think that's going to be a battle all season long, Cal.
Yeah, you'd have to think there'll be an ebb and flow dependent on the race circuit that we're visiting each weekend, but it's going to be a fierce battle all season long. Touring car, wow, what a change. I mean, it is immense here with this competition level so high. Really impressed with the driving, though. Just really good, clean competition. Great stuff.
We'll see the Vesco bringing that Reardon Racing Z down here. Laura Tallman, team principal at Reardon Racing. 4 cars here this weekend. Take a quick look here at our touring car point standings as well. Obviously sweeping the weekend, Vesco Kozarov with the lead now. And he's going to have to see if he can maintain that. He hasn't really done a solid full season yet, but I got to think with a double race win here, starting it off pretty good. He only got 5 races left, or sorry, 5 rounds left, but 10 more races.
Yeah, talking to Laura Tallman, she said we're not committed, but we're going to do everything we can. We certainly appreciate the skills of Vesco, but I think for Johann Schwartz, very strong in the points, as you can see there. 2 really good results. Tony Rivera bounces back from yesterday. Yeah, that really quick lap got him on the front row and a runner-up finish, so good stuff there.
Well, I mentioned it at the result page there. Finishing in 10th, Sean Quinlan with your VP Fuels Hard Charger of the Race Award, picking up the most positions on the start. Of course, VP Fuels, our official fuel for the Pirelli World Challenge. I want to give a huge thank you to VP Racing Fuels for doing our Hard Charger of the Race Award. As they come around on their cool-down lap down into pit lane, we'll get a chance to speak with our race winner once again, Vesco Kozarov, and hopefully we can see if we can get a smile out of the guy this time. I think runs the perfect race, and I'll probably still think that he can do it that much better. And that just gives you the perfection and the preparation he does with this team.
High expectations from that driver, and yeah, he delivers.
Well, it's been an exciting touring car race here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. Your race winner, Vesco Kozarov, down on pit lane. We'll get his Hans device and his helmet off as he puts on that Pirelli hat. Of course, Pirelli P0s on all these touring car categories. And Vesco Kozarov, Reardon Racing, sweeping the weekend in touring car. Gino Carini down on pit lane with our race winner today.
We're down here with Vesco Kozarov with a 2-race, 2-win weekend. I mean, Vesco, they don't get much better than this. Talk about the perfect weekend. And do us all a favor. The guys are wondering, could you smile a little bit this time?
I'm always smiling inside. What a weekend, seriously. What a way to open up the winning bank, right? Fantastic job, Reardon Racing guys. Man, oh man. Perfect cars every time, both in touring car and in the GTS race. My job was easy.
So you seem to just control the whole race with your own pace. You were smooth. You were fast when you needed to be. Did you have a lot of pressure from Tony Rivera back there? Were you worried about it? Tell me about that.
Did you say pressure?
Pressure. No pressure from Rivera?
No, the Reardon guys are so good, man. They run the thing. The reason we have speed is this thing is spot on. The race got lengthened by a single lap, and we ran out of gas in the last lap. We stumbled across the finish line, so every pound matters for sure.
Well, it's awfully impressive.
Never easy. Thanks to Nissan, Nismo, everybody that make this thing happen.
All right, well, thank you. We hope to see you back here again in the next round. Congratulations. Someone head down to Rivera.
Boy, he did a superb job. Vesco Kozarov sweeping the weekend, and he did. He did his homework in that offseason, got that car perfect, spoke to Rick Kulak, and he said that's what they did. They were in that shop working on that all day long. Gino Carini, another update down there on pit lane.
Well, I got lucky. I happened to end up with Tony Rivera and Johann Schwartz. Guys, what do you think? What a great weekend. Tony, the pressure from Johann, how did you feel?
I felt at least he's a good personal friend. I could trust him not to turn me around. And I probably did some moves that's uncharacteristic for me, especially playing defense the last lap. But he did get me back in one turn. We did the over in, and I got back by him through the fast carousel. So.
Well, Johann, really, and it was perfect. You really did a nice move. I watched it. I mean, we all watched it. It was very impressive. Why couldn't you hold it?
It was an entertaining move. It wasn't perfect. If it had been perfect, Tony would have been back there and I would have been here. What a great race out there in West Virginia. It's on the car. I got to thank all the guys. There's so many names, but Eric and Kevin in particular, the interns from West Virginia University, which is Mark and Justin and Kevin back there, and Todd, team owner, that put me in the car. Unbelievable opportunity for me to go out here. We worked so hard at it, and here we are in third place.
Congratulations, Johann. Fantastic weekend.
Thank you so much.
See you on the podium.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to second place, Tony Rivera, and third place, Johann Schwartz, closing out our podium in our touring car category. Well, Calvin, it was a great race for our touring cars.
I enjoyed it, mate, and my first time. I'm a touring car rookie in terms of making the call, so looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, can't wait for Virginia International Raceway coming up next for the round 3 and 4 in our touring car category. Well, the action here at Circuit of the Americas concludes for our touring car class of the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas. For Gino Carini, Calvin Fish, and our entire CBS Sport Network crew, I'm Jeff Lepper, in association with WC Vision. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.